She shattered the chains of the Star Dragon, and the Empire paid the price. The shipyards of the Imperial core gleamed like knives against the endless night. Thousands of vessels, warships, mining haulers, even the occasional noble's private yacht, hung tethered to skeletal docking frames. Yet at the heart of Docking Ring 9, under layers of security drones and patrol frigates, floated something far more dangerous than steel or circuitry. The Empire called it Asset Omega 7, but whispers across the stars gave it another name, the Star Dragon, a creature older than human memory, captured during the first expansion wars. It was not made of flesh as mortals knew it, but scales harder than neutron steel, and a core of burning stellar plasma. Bound in chains of quantum-forged alloys, drugged with radiation dampeners, the dragon slumbered beneath a cocoon of shields. The Empire had never revealed why it kept the beast alive. Some said it powered their war engines with harvested plasma. Others claimed the creature's blood burned forever, fueling weapons that could devastate entire worlds. Whatever the truth, one fact was beyond dispute. Omega 7 was the cornerstone of Imperial supremacy, and Lyra Valen intended to set it free. Part 1. The Ghost of Chains. Lyra was no revolutionary by birth. She had been born into the dirt of Galadrin Prime, a mining colony where the skies were permanently blackened by fuel ash. Her father died in a shaft collapse when she was 12. Her mother, a mechanic, had been dragged off by Imperial enforcers after voicing discontent about wage theft. Lyra had learned young. The Empire's glory was fed by the broken bodies of those it deemed expendable. By 25, she was one of the best infiltration operatives in the Resistance, a shadow network too scattered and fragile to even call itself a rebellion. They whispered of liberty in stolen channels, fought skirmishes on forgotten moons, and dreamed of one decisive blow that could finally turn the tide. That blow, according to intelligence pulled from a dead admiral's mind core, was hidden at Docking Ring 9. The moment Lyra first saw the Star Dragon through her ship's viewport, her breath caught. The creature was vast, wings folded like storm fronts, body curled in forced hibernation. Chains thicker than space elevators wound around its chest, neck, and wings. Yet even bound, even drugged, its presence pressed against her mind like the heat of the sun. It was alive, and it was suffering. "Gods," whispered her pilot, Kale, breaking the silence. "That thing, if the Empire really controls it, they don't control it." Lyra cut him off, her eyes narrowing. "They cage it, like us." And she swore then, not only would she complete the mission, she would shatter those chains. Part 2, the Key of Ashes. The plan was madness. Even Kale said as much. Docking Ring 9 was one of the most fortified structures in the galaxy. Entire fleets had been stationed around it during wartime. Yet Lyra's stolen codes and forged item tags got them through the first barriers. She was disguised as a mid-level Imperial contractor, Kale as her security attaché. Once inside, the station was an industrial labyrinth, glittering halls for officers, rusting tunnel for workers, endless layers of security. The dragon's containment chamber lay at its core. The Resistance had given her a tool, one salvaged from the wreck of a forgotten war. A shard of crystalline technology rumored to predate the Empire itself. They called it the Key of Ashes. It was not designed by humans. Its jagged form pulsed faintly in her hand, resonating whenever she neared the dragon. The key will unlock its bonds, the Resistance elder had told her. But beware, a star-born creature unleashed is not ours to command. You may free it, Lyra Valen, but you cannot chain what is meant to burn. Lyra hadn't cared to break the Empire's hold. Even chaos was preferable. They slipped deeper into the station. Surveillance blind spots. Vent shafts no contractor should know. Kale covered her from behind, blaster drawn. Yet the closer they came to containment chamber, the stronger the dragon's presence grew. Lyra could feel its pain inside her skull, a low thrumming, a cry that resonated in her bones. It was begging, and not for mercy, but for release. Part 3. The Dragon Awakens. The chamber was a cathedral of machinery. Vast pylons surrounded the beast, each spitting streams of energy that fed into the chains. Technicians bustled about, adjusting controls, never daring to look too long at the Star Dragon itself. Its wings twitched faintly, as if in dreams. Lyra moved like a ghost, slipping between shadows until she reached the central control pylon. The Key of Ashes in her hand burned hot, aligning with frequencies beyond comprehension. Kale's whisper crackled in her ear. "You still have time to back out, once those chains drop." "Once they drop," Lyra murmured, "the Empire loses everything." She slammed the shard into the pylon. The effect was instantaneous. The chamber lights flickered, alarms shrieked, and the energy stream sputtered like dying torches. One by one, the quantum forge chains unraveled into dust. The dragon stirred. Its eyes opened. Two molten stars that saw everything, even her. The chamber vibrated with a sound beyond sound, a roar that rippled through every atom. The technician screamed and fled, but it was too late. The star dragon was awake. It rose, wings unfolding wider than the chamber itself. Its scales shimmered like galaxies, a living constellation. And in that impossible moment, Lyra realized the truth. This creature was not simply a beast. It was a fragment of the cosmos itself, bound and tortured to fuel imperial dominion. And it was furious. Part 4, Fire upon the core. The dragon's first breath incinerated half the chamber, molten plasma tearing through steel and circuitry alike. The second shattered the docking ring's outer hull, sending ships spinning into the void. Kale grabbed Lyra, dragging her into cover as debris rained down. You wanted freedom? You've doomed us all. No, Lyra said, even as her heart pounded with terror and awe. I gave it back what was stolen. The dragon burst free into space, chains falling away like broken crowns. Warships converged, unleashing volleys of plasma cannons and missile swarms. But the beast moved like starlight itself. Its wings spread, each beat propelling it through ships that melted before they could react. Lyra and Kale scrambled into their small vessel, barely escaping the imploding station. Through the viewport, they watched the unimaginable, an entire Imperial fleet ripped apart by a single being. Every world would hear of this. The Empire's symbol of eternal control had become the harbinger of its undoing. And yet, the dragon did not leave. Its blazing eyes turned back toward docking ring 9, toward Lyra's ship, toward her. Part 5, The Price of Freedom. For days, chaos spread through the core systems. Propaganda screamed of terrorist sabotage, of an out-of-control beast. But the truth was undeniable. Omega, 7 was free, and Imperial fleets fell wherever it went. Yet the dragon did not rampage mindlessly. It struck only at armories, shipyards, command worlds, the pillars of Imperial might. It was waging war, and Lyra began to dream. Every night, visions of fire and stars filled her mind. A voice echoed within, not in words, but in impressions. Rage, grief, liberation. The dragon was speaking to her across the void. You're linked, Kale said grimly after she told him. The key of ashes, it bonded you to it. Maybe you're the only reason it hasn't burned everything. Lyra didn't know if that was comfort or curse. She could feel its pain, its endless memory of centuries in chains. But she also felt its resolve. The Empire would pay. When the Resistance finally contacted her, their voices shook with awe. You did it, Lyra. You broke their spine. Recruitment is flooding in. Systems are defecting. The galaxy is changing. But Lyra only stared at the stars, wondering, if the dragon was fighting for freedom, was it also fighting for humanity, or only for itself? Part 6, The Last Chain. The Emperor himself made a stand above Solar Prime, the throne world of the Empire. A fleet of 1,000 warships encircled the planet, weapons charged at levels that could crack moons. The star dragon descended upon them like judgment incarnate. Plasma roared, worlds trembled, and Lyra was there, in her small vessel at the edge of the battlefield. She could feel the dragon's fury like fire in her veins. She knew what it intended. It would burn Solar Prime itself, wipe the seat of Imperial power from existence. Millions of innocents would die. She pressed her hands against the viewport, whispering into the void. Please, not them, not the people. They're prisoners too. For a moment, she thought it wouldn't hear. The dragon's chest swelled, a star about to go supernova. Then its blazing eyes flicked toward her, and for the first time, the fury dimmed. The key of ashes glowed in her pocket, searing hot, and she realized the final chain was not metal or energy. It was a choice. The dragon was waiting for her. Part 7, A New Dawn. The fleet shattered. The Emperor's flagship fell in silence, its hull glowing slag before disintegrating. But Solar Prime remained untouched. The dragon's fire turned outward, consuming only the war machines, sparing the cities below. Lyra collapsed in her seat, tears blurring her eyes. She had not commanded it. She had only asked, and it had listened. When the last warship burned, the dragon rose, wings shimmering with light. It hovered for a moment above the liberated world, its gaze locked on Lyra's ship. Then, with a beat of wings that rippled across the cosmos, it vanished into the stars. The Empire was broken. Worlds once enslaved declared independence. Resistance cells unified, building something new in the ashes. But none claimed the victory for themselves. They whispered instead of the liberator, the one who shattered the chains of the Star Dragon. Lyra knew the truth. She had not commanded a weapon. She had freed a being that had chosen its own path, a path that intersected, however briefly, with humanity's desperate yearning for freedom. And though the galaxy celebrated, Lyra sometimes looked at the stars and wondered, would the dragon return? And if it did, would it come a savior or judgment?